Hey all. So I'm combining these two war videos both because I was out of town and so I'm trying to get them out a little bit later, and also because the combined footage from both of them is about 10 minutes. These were very, very quick. The way planning worked out, I ended up using just Archangel and Blade this first war and just Absorbing Man the second one. So the reason I am heavy countering here is because if I go for parries immediately before I have the placebo buff on me, well, then Rintrah is going to reduce the duration of my stuns going forward, and that's going to get scary. Now, obviously, I got a little bit lucky there. I definitely tried to capitalize on a stun that I shouldn't have, and you can see that the stuns from the neurotoxins are still getting reduced because now the placebo buff isn't on us. But that's why the important thing in this fight is just to know your heavy spacing after his heavies and after his special one, so that you can get the neuros up and close out the fight without him going red on you regardless. You just do not rely on stuns. Very similar plan of attack for this Killmonger. We're going to go for a heavy counter right away. First hit lands, triggers reverb, but it does 0 damage right now. And now we are just trying to get our neuros up before reverb comes back. We may not be completely successful, and maybe he's going to do a full combo when I think that he's done, and I'm going to end up eating a few hits and burning up my indestructible boost. Love that. But after that, we're back on top of things. We get a few neuros off. Sure, he's got the indestructible charges, but that doesn't matter. He's just ticking down. We're not worried about reverb here, and we close it out. Only had those two fights with Archangel, so it really didn't matter if I lost a bunch of health to reverb. So I could have just started the fight with a parry, but I prefer in that instance to just go for the heavy counter right away and keep things that much more under control. Then we have Mephisto here with Blade. We had room on the team to bring Stark Enhanced Spider-Man, so he should turn off more than half of these abilities, but you can see there's still the Purify of the stun there, and that's fine. You know it's going to come some percentage of the time, so you just wait for it. There it is again. The regen is still happening. We just don't worry about it. We are building power from bleeds here and pushing our way up to the special 2. And there we go. No passive furies, and if he didn't stop the damage himself by trying to heal, that special 2 alone probably would have finished it. Obviously it did not, but now we're back to another one, and just very, very quick fight. Turns out Blade is still really, really good at hunting dimensional beings. So we move on to the other reason that I brought Blade, which is this spot in section 2 on steady build-up unblockable. This can be a nasty node. Spot has extra defensive ability accuracy because of the node. So somebody like Nick is going to turn off his spots a bit less. Reminder, because I know that this is a very common piece of misinformation, Disorients do not turn off Spot's ability to gain spots. They only turn off his portal block, which is one of the ways he gets it. So that's why somebody like Blade is just that much better, because not only is he reducing Spot's ability accuracy enough to slow down the spots, but he's also going to just close this out super, super quickly. Also note that I did go for the punish of his special one, because that is going to remove a spot and then also put them on cooldown for a little bit, and I just find that makes it that much safer. It's why slowing down the spots is sometimes as good as stopping them entirely, because then you combine that with punishing the specials and you're good to go. So, into War 3, we now have this fight against Killmonger. I hit his block early to make sure that we trigger reverb while he's at no power. And you'll notice that I brought the Thor synergy, so I actually have access to armor breaks on Absorbing Man. Now, I also was dumb and hit into him, but this is one place that Carl's crit resistance really comes in clutch, because Killmonger just does not have that high a crit rate, and so we don't really need to worry about getting smacked. We heavy cancel into the special 2, do really good work there, immediately go for medium, medium to limit how much reverb we take back. We light attack punish his heavy to get the big pause and the small vulnerability there. And we're gonna, I go for the pause here. Because remember, while the node is in the incinerate phase, that is going to pause things for us. But while we're in the shock phase, even though we're not dying to the damage because of our energy resist, we do need to manage the pause ourselves, and that's why I'm sometimes going for those lights after Killmonger's heavies. Still, the important part is just getting to a second special 2 while in refined, and you can see that just closes it out really efficiently. Next up we have this Rintrah on Ebb and Flow Intercept. I've taken Rintrah several times in Battlegrounds with Carl, which is kind of a variant on this node. So the important part is knock him down a lot to control his charges, but you're also going to want to do that light attack after heavies sometimes. And so I'm going to try and basically alternate knocking him down with heavies when he throws a heavy counter, and punishing his heavy with my light to get the pause. I'm also going to be throwing my heavy to cancel it into a special sometimes, because reminder, that gives us even more morph charges. And we are doing enough interesting stuff here that having morph charges to make Rintrah a bit less tanky, and also to get some regen to get our block damage back, it will be nice. But as you can see, this is just really not much of a problem. Even through Rintrah's crit resist, Carl is going to have a pretty good chance to land those crits when he heavy cancels into his specials. And when he doesn't, we're still doing good damage. Rintrah is tanky, but a lot of that tankiness is energy resist and crit resist. And so the fact that Carl is doing physical burst damage that isn't related to crits on every single hit is just allowing us to continue chipping him down. Additionally, we're not applying any debuffs, so we don't have to worry about willpower. This is going very well. I do manage to land that one cheeky light there. I do not necessarily recommend that. I've definitely gone for some lights in this fight that felt safe to me, but I can't really explain why they felt safe, and so I recommend practicing specifically throwing the lights after the heavies so that you don't have to do some of the riskier things that I did there. Anyway, then we go ahead and turn on Magma, because that's what gives us energy resistance for Terrax's rock field, and this is just going to be funny. We block early to increase Terrax's combat power rate, because then that is going to let us keep him in rock field, as you're going to see, for the whole fight. We get the intercept protection off pretty quickly, we block even more, and we just stay on him. We do not want him coming out of rock field, because then we would actually have to worry about his power. Here we don't, and it's also feeding us these armor breaks, so we just keep refining, keep cutting him down. Yeah. Carl was purpose-built to be a Terrax killer. 26 seconds. I didn't even have to heavy cancel. That's a fun one. Obviously the Fury helps us a lot there. Carl responds well to attack modifications. But then still in Magma, we take node 49, this Hulkling, and this is just going to be pretty straightforward. Because we are immune to both of the debuffs here, we are going to pretty much always be pausing just as we're landing our combos, and so all I'm going to worry about is comboing in between special 2s. However, I am going to play it pretty fast and loose as far as trying to not block, because us being in Magma for immunity reasons means that we don't have that physical resistance that normally lets us block Hulkling without worrying about his Pierce. And so I'm just going to try and not block. I did right at the start of the fight, and I probably will again somewhere in here, but for the most part, I'm just trying to hit into him, allow him to build power, and then he will throw specials and heavies and otherwise give us openings. And of course, a couple intercepts aren't going to hurt. We go for the medium, light, medium to refine there, make sure that we have plenty of uptime, and of course to put another big vulnerability on him. And you'll see that those incinerates are just doing more and more damage. I was going to say, I couldn't remember if I baited out that special too, because I definitely did not need to, even without a heavy cancel. The special 2 just does enough damage to close that out. So both of these wars went pretty well. If I remember correctly, we lost War 2 in part because BG3 did have a couple of unfortunate deaths as people were taking new matchups. Not going to lose any sleep over it. It was still only 2 deaths as our second war in the season. The Alliance overall played well. We were just outplayed, so that's okay. And then for our third war, BG3 actually donutted. So like I said, it has been a pretty good start to the season. We had 1 disconnect, then 2 deaths, and then a donut for our first week. And that did help the Alliance overall win our third war, and so we're in a pretty good spot right now. Obviously need to keep performing because the season is a long, long way from over. But I really like where the Alliance is at, and I'm really happy with this group of 10 in Battle Group 3. And sometimes it lets me take short, entertaining wars like this with really strong counters. Especially when I'm on the road, that part is very nice. So until next time, thanks so much for watching, and take care.